Hello, welcome to your second Unity 3D Bricks game tutorial series. Now in the last video we just set up the bounds here. Okay, we just set up the boundaries. Now in this video we're gonna create a script and move our player from left to right. Now before that, let's add a directional light to our game. So click on game object, light, directional light. Now the directional light will lead our game. So now let's move our player. In order to do that, first of all, let's create a script. So click on paddle. Paddle is our player. Click on add component, new script, and name it move. Now create an add. Let's double click here to open, and you'll open MonoDevelop. So the first thing we want to do is we want to take the input from the left and right arrow keys, and we will want to move our player according to that. So in order to get the input from the left and right arrow keys, we have to use input.getAxis and store that value inside a variable. So let's create a float variable. Float move x equals, first of all, let me just increase the font so that you guys can see it clearly. So first of all, let's create float move x equals to input dot get axis horizontal. Okay, so input dot get axis horizontal basically means that get the input from the horizontal axis, that is from the left and right arrow keys, and put it inside movex. So movex is the amount we want to move our player, okay, in the x-axis, of course. Now let's create a vector2 what to name it, vector2 position. Okay, now inside the position we will store the temporary value that we'll put into transform. And again, we want to make another variable, float speed. So this is the speed. Let's make it public. So this is the speed by which we want to move our player. Okay, so here we are getting the input into movex. Now let's, first of all, it's a start function. Let's position, let's do this, position equals transform dot position. Let me explain this. Transform dot position is the actual original position of the player or the paddle. Okay, transform position basically means the position of the game object with which the script is attached. Now the script is attached to the player, so the transform dot position means the position of the player. Now Unity will not allow us to just modify the value of transformed position directly. Okay, so we have to just store the value into a temporary variable, then change the value here, and then again put the value inside this. I hope that makes sense. So we have stored it in position. Now let's just change the value of position plus equals. So we want the value of position to be incremented by move x. That is the amount by which we have just pressed our arrow keys. Now, if we do only that, then move x will be added to position.x per frame, since update is called per frame. So in every frame, move x will be added to position. But if we do that, it will be a lot of speed and we cannot control that. So in order to do per second instead of per frame, we have to multiply it by time dot delta time. Time dot delta time basically means adding movex to it per second instead of per frame. So now movex will be added to it per second instead of per frame, and it will have a normal behavior. Now in order to control the speed by which we want to move it, we want to multiply it again by the variable speed that we created. Since it's a public variable, we can just adjust the value of speed from the inspector, and we can just move it accordingly with that speed. So I hope it makes sense. So now we have stored our value in the position variable, and then finally we want to just store it inside the transform. Oops, not animation. Transform.position equals position. Oops, I made a error here. So here position.x, since we want to modify the x-axis value, we want to move it into the x-axis, so we want to move the x value only. So position.x plus equals move x asterisk time to delta time asterisk speed. And finally, we store the value of position inside transform.position. Now, this is the original position of the object. This is the value that will decide where the object will be. Okay. So now we have done everything. So with clicking paddle, now here you can see a new variable called speed. So let's go and give it a value accordingly. Now we can adjust the value and create our speed accordingly. Now let's make it 5. Okay, I think 5 will be fine. So let's go and click on play. As you can see, now we can move our paddle accordingly. Okay, and if we increase the value here, value of speed here, if we make it something like 10, as you can see, now we can move it very fast. Okay, very fast. So we can just adjust the value from the inspector accordingly. I think 8 will be fine. Okay, let's make it 8. Now we have another problem. The problem is the paddle moves beyond the boundaries. Okay, it moves beyond the boundaries, but we don't want it to move beyond the boundaries. We want to move it until the boundaries. So in order to do that, you have to modify our script. Now first of all, let us see how much do we want it to move. We want it to move from here to here. So when it is here, let's take a look at the value in the transform component. It's minus 10.62, and here it is also positive 10.62. So we want it to move from minus 10.62 to plus 10.62. So let's go and fix that. Now there's a special function in Unity called mathif.clamp. Mathif.clamp just mathif.clamp just helps us to put the value inside a range. Okay, so mathif.clamp, and we want the value of position.x to be from a minimum value to a maximum value. Now the minimum value for us is minus 10.6f, and the maximum value is plus 10.6f. Okay, now the math.clamp will keep the value of position.x from minus 10.6x to plus 10.6x, and if it wants to move beyond that, it will not allow it to move beyond that. Okay, so it will always stay within bounds. Now we have just put the value of position.x within that value. Now we have to put it inside position.x. So position.x equals this value. So now here we get the value of position.x, and here we get the refined value of position.x after just putting the boundaries. So let's go and run it, and let's see what happens. So I have run it, and as you can see now, I cannot move beyond that. Okay, so now we have created the boundaries, and I cannot move beyond that. So in this video, we just created the script to move our player. Be excited. I think if you just enjoy the tutorial, in the next video, we'll make our ball bounce. Okay, so this will be very interesting. We'll make our ball bounce, and we'll make a script for the ball. So I hope you'll enjoy the next video. Thank you very, very much for watching this video. Please make sure to subscribe, and thank you.